Yo, what's going on guys, Arekkz here, welcome back to another Destiny video, and of course, more Rise of Iron stuff. So in today's video, kind of like how I did the other day with the Trespasser, I wanted to put together another really quick video to speak about another one of the exotic weapons coming to Destiny next month. And that is this exotic pulse rifle. Now, unlike with the Trespasser, we don't actually have a name for this one, but what we do have is some gameplay of what we assume is the exotic perk, and a little bit more detail. So I figured a quick video to explain everything we currently know is in order. So if you do enjoy this, then a like would be super appreciated. Comment down below and let me know what you think, but let's get started. So, first of all, this is an exotic pulse rifle. And it was actually first described in a Game Informer article a few weeks back, and the main perk for it, the exotic perk, is that on a precision kill, a swarm of red Seaver bolts shoot out and seek nearby enemies. So you can clearly see that in the gameplay here. The Guardian obviously gets a precision headshot, and then upon doing that, these red Seaver bolts explode out almost like Wolfpack rounds, and then they seek out the enemy that is right next to it. Now, another thing we can of course glean from the gameplay is that this pulse rifle also has Outlaw, which is a perk whereby precision kills will dramatically increase the reload speed of that weapon. So if you kind of pair those two together, then you have a weapon where if you seek out precision shots, then you'll not only be able to, you know, effectively take out multiple targets, but you'll also be able to reload quickly and basically keep that spree going. Now, the interesting thing about this as well is that it's kind of like Firefly meets Wolfpack rounds, which is really, really cool, and in some ways potentially more useful because, of course, Firefly is a really, really good perk, one of my favourites in PvE, but of course it's only good on enemies that are grouped together. Now, assuming this has a slightly wider radius, it might well be that upon killing a target, you're able to then hit another target that's outside of, say, the normal Firefly radius. Now, of course, we only have this gameplay segment to go on, so we don't know whether it's capable of seeking multiple targets. Now, if it is, then it might well be that some of those rounds kind of disperse and split between them, potentially sharing the damage. Of course, that's all speculation at this point, but for the time being, in the gameplay demo, there were obviously only 2 targets, but they did take out the other target. Now, the other target was only a minor minion of the darkness, nothing kind of super strong, so it's not really a great indication of just how powerful this is, but regardless, it is something I am definitely super excited to use. And it's fair to say, based on the way that this looks, of course it's a very Seaver-inspired looking weapon with the whole sort of, you know, Rasputin look to it. It's probably the exotic weapon that comes from or is associated with either the raid, the Wrath of the Machine, or alternatively tied to collecting all of those dormant Seaver clusters. And the reason I think it might well be tied to the raid is because in a recent interview, in fact the most recent Game Informer article that dropped a couple of days back when they spoke about raid design, one of the questions they asked was, in King's Fall, you also had what felt to me like a conscious decision to implement a weapon that you were trying to get. With Touch of Malice, once you had it, that fundamentally made the encounter easier. Of course, as you guys know, you can basically infinitely fire, so it means shooting Aureks in the chest, shooting the daughters, etc. And he then said, I'm curious about the mindset behind that. What did you ultimately like after the fact, now that you liked the structure? And the answer was, quote unquote, I think that just made getting it really meaningful once you went through the effort and you felt like it was worth it. It had a really powerful impact and it didn't really pollute the rest of the sandbox or the rest of the game. It was okay to have something in that sandbox, in that context, that was radically overpowered, that didn't destroy PvP and didn't make the rest of the game trivial. So they considered it a win. They then followed up and said, would you avoid doing that again? To which they responded, no, I don't think so. I mean, it's better than the player going through all this effort to get some exotic weapon that just feels, yeah. So to kind of boil all that down, what they effectively mean is they were happy with the implementation of Touch of Malice. They were happy with the fact that at the end of that whole long calcified fragment quest chain and, you know, finding all of them and whatnot, when you got Touch of Malice, you were genuinely happy with it. It genuinely helped in the raid encounter, did make things easier, but it also didn't mess with the balance of the game. So they were genuinely super happy with that, and that's something they are keen to emulate in Wrath of the Machine. So I think it's fair to say, based on the interview, the looks of the gun, and the existence of things like dormant Seaver clusters, that this is probably going to be either tied to the raid as a drop, or more likely tied to the raid in some sort of dormant Seaver cluster link. Either way, that is, of course, wild speculation right now. We don't know more than that. So for the time being, I'm going to keep this brief. So in summary, it's an exotic pulse rifle. Upon precision shots, it will then create Seaver bolts, which then seek out nearby targets, and they then deal damage to them. So, as mentioned, kind of like Firefly meets Wolfpack rounds on a pulse rifle. It's also got Outlaw, so you'll of course be reloading faster on precision shots, and it looks pretty damn awesome. So, that's it for this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you did, then a like would be super appreciated. Comment down below, let me know your thoughts. And thanks for watching. Take it easy. Catch you next time. Peace out.